Good afternoon, welcome to Solent Sports News. It's 4 o'clock and I'm Linus Harrington, here with your final sports bulletin. Britain's most decorated Olympian is now facing heavy accusations of cheating. Five-time gold medalist and Tour de France winner Bradley Wiggins is accused of abusing an ethical loophole alongside Team Sky general manager David Brailsford to use drugs for performance enhancement purposes rather than medical needs. Damien Collins, who chaired the inquiry by the Digital, Culture, Media and Sport Committee, says there needs to be stricter regulations.
What we're saying is there's a question about the ethics of the use of medicines within sport, and one of the recommendations we make in the report is to say, actually, this shouldn't be a matter of judgment. If there are medicines which don't need to be taken, where there are clear performance-enhancing benefits from them, then we think those medicines should be banned.
Wiggins has tweeted that he denies any and all allegations, whilst Brailsford stated in December that he and his team are not hiding anything.
There was no question whatsoever of trying to cover up. It was just simply what I was being told, and I was too hasty in relaying that information on.
Southampton striker Manolo Gabbiadini has paid tribute to former teammate Davide Astori, who passed away at the weekend aged 31. The Italian international was captain of Serie A outfit Fiorentina, but was found dead in his hotel room just hours before a game against Udinese. Gabbiadini posted a picture of himself and Astori alongside Italian legend Gianluigi Buffon, with the message, "Goodbye Davide, rest in peace." Chelsea and former Italy coach Antonio Conte also expressed his sorrow for Astori's family.
This is a tragedy, and this news really hit at me, and it's very difficult in this moment to find the right words for the family.
Southampton are edging closer and closer to the drop zone after another disappointing weekend. The Saints drew 0-0 at home to fellow strugglers Stoke City and found themselves just a point above the safety zone. After a win for Crystal Palace this weekend, though, it could go all wrong as Saints fall into relegation places. Loud boos rang out around the ground at the final whistle, and fans leaving St Mary's were visibly disappointed.
Players have to take some responsibility, but the major responsibility lies upstairs, up there.
Change your manager, change your tactics. If it's clearly broken, you know, the phrase is if it's not broke, don't fix it. But it is broken, fix it.
Toxic club now, it is toxic, the atmosphere's toxic, the fans don't deserve this at all, we don't deserve it, the board seriously needs to sack him because Pellegrino is out of his depth here, he hasn't got a clue what he's doing anymore.
Bournemouth boss Eddie Howe was left frustrated by a sloppy decision just seconds from time. The Cherries were forced to settle for a point against Leicester as Algerian winger Riyad Mahrez curled home a free kick deep into injury time, cancelling out Josh King's first half penalty. Whilst Premier League sides were able to take to the field, other Solent sides were beaten this weekend by the Beast from the East. The Arctic storm covered the region with heavy snowfall, cancelling all non-top flight fixtures. However, one team will be back in action almost immediately as Gosport Borough take on Hereford this evening. The FA's chief executive has apologised for comparing the Star of David to symbols such as a swastika. During talks regarding the yellow ribbon worn by Manchester City coach Pep Guardiola, Martin Glenn stated symbols such as the Star of David or swastika were not wanted on shirts. The comparison drew heavy criticism from the Jewish Leadership Council, and Glenn has apologised for any offence caused. The final pre-season test ahead of a new Formula 1 season gets underway tomorrow. The 4-day meet in Barcelona will host the last on-track running for motorists, before it's lights out in Australia on the 23rd of March. Joining me now is Jasper Sarina, who has been keeping his eye on the upcoming season. Now Jasper, this will be the second set of testing. How have teams been shaping up so far?
Well, the headline times in Formula 1 pre-season testing are often unreliable indicators of true competitive form. This year, even more so. The first test was interrupted by poor weather conditions and snowfall, so not only did teams have limited running, but the temperatures that they were running in didn't suit the Pirelli tyres or give a good indication of the times that the cars could do. Combine that with the varying fuel loads and the tyre combinations, you end up with a vast array of lap times, so it's very hard to tell.
Despite this, who has looked the best in season so far?
Reigning world champion Lewis Hamilton ended the week fastest. His Mercedes lapped the Circuit de Catalunya in 1 minute 19.3 seconds. That's a whole 0.3 seconds quicker than anyone else, while on the harder tyres. While no clear frontrunner has emerged as of yet, there's just enough evidence to suggest that last year's top three of Mercedes, Ferrari and Red Bull will be there again this year, only closer together.
Outside those big three though, who could be the dark horse this year?
It will be interesting to see how McLaren perform in the final test. This week, they changed their supplier over the winter. They went from Honda Power to Renault. The British team were confident last year that they had a strong chassis, but were let down by the Japanese engine supplier. So I expect them to make a leap forward. So far in testing, they've been quick, but have only run on the softer, faster tyre.
Well, thank you for that, Jasper. And finally, Hampshire's Roger Black has paid his respect to one of Britain's greatest athletes. So Roger Bannister, the first man to run a 4-minute mile, passed away on Saturday, aged 88. Black nearly quit athletics to study medicine at Southampton University, but recalls how a letter from Bannister convinced him to follow his dream.
I wasn't sure what to do, whether to leave or try and do both. He was the only person I could think of who could advise me. So I actually wrote to him. I'd never met him before, and he wrote me a handwritten note back and actually said, in my day, old chap, it was very different. It's a bit more serious now. But he encouraged me to follow my heart.
Well, that's all from us for now. We will be back next week with more sporting headlines. Remember, you can keep up to date on our website at solentjournalism.co.uk. But for me, it's goodbye for now.